This is the DNA Pest Control Podcast with your hosts, Daniel and Anthony.
All right. How's it been going, guys? Well, today let's start over again here. I know it's been a little bit since we have gotten onto the podcast. A lot of stuff has been changing. If you haven't been aware, haven't been getting the emails from some of the guys, the MPMA, PCOC, I think they are, as well, has been sending out a few. Some big things have been changing in the industry and what we've been doing. So I wanted to hit a few things on that, as well as go over using this time, if anybody has been getting services pushed out, really, if they have been getting appointments pushed out, getting on top of training, knowledge of equipment, knowledge of chemicals, knowledge of different insects and services. And so I'm going to be covering a little bit of that stuff just to catch everybody up on what's been kind of going on. If you haven't been listening to the news, or especially in our industry news, just so you guys, technician, owner, manager, if you haven't been aware of it, I'm going to get you up to speed today, just in the beginning. So a lot has been changing in the industry, and I think our services might be changing quite a bit here in the future, at least until the pandemic's over, but it's going to be a service that I think sticks and that is going to stay for a while. One of the big one is, and the webinars that have come out and everybody's questions are, can we do actual sanitation services or disinfectant services? Now, remember, there are differences there. You can't, a sanitation and disinfection, to disinfect is different. So make sure that you go in and do your due diligence to find out. But I did want to share with everybody, we did get an email from the Pest Control Board. So it was kind of interesting. So they said, "Dear licensed pest control business or licensed qualified applicator, the Department of Pesticide Regulation, DPR, has received many questions recently about hiring individuals to use antimicrobials as part of sanitation or disinfection efforts. And in order to be hired to apply pesticides for sanitation or disinfection services, the licensed pest control business, PCB, must have a qualified applicator license, a QAL." Okay? So guys, if you have a branch 2, you're in California, you cannot do a disinfectant service. If you have a branch 3, you cannot. If you have a branch 1, you cannot. Even if you have your operator's license, guess what? You cannot do this service, okay? Which is interesting, which I would put up a fight. Well, I can disinfect rodent droppings, right? But they said you still can't, which is really weird. But anyway, that's not for me to decide. That's up to them. I'm not fighting it. I have a QAL license. So me and my company, we're fine if this service actually does go for us. But so it goes on to say, so now it's a QAL license holder with one of the following categories. So just so you guys know, outside of California, or if you are familiar in other states, the QAL license essentially is saying that we can spray outside the structure. So we have the Pest Control Board license, which means, or the Structural Pest Control Board. So the Structural Pest Control issues licenses. That means we can treat a structure. We cannot treat outside that structure. A QAL allows us to treat the lawn and outside of the structure. So if you only have a QAL, you can treat up to the structure, and that's it. You can't actually treat the structure. True Green, I could be wrong on this, but they have a QAL. That's why they can do the lawn maintenance, where they're treating for different insects or whatever goes on in lawns. They have the QAL license to do that. So for pesticide applications, this is what they're saying, that take place in, around schools, residences, or office buildings, the PCB would need to have a QAL with category A, residential, industrial, institutional, or category P, microbial. These licenses are issued by the Department of Pesticide Regulation, which is DPR, and information on how to obtain them, which they go on. If you are hired by a government agency working to ensure public health, you can alternatively have a QAL with category K, which is health related. So if you have any of those, a K, P, or A, you can do a disinfectant service. I do not have a P or a K license, but I do have A and B. So now A would fall under that category. So I could. So if anyone is, needing clarification. So you have to have the QAL plus one of those categories. Now you can get a QAL without getting one of those categories, just so everybody knows. But the only crappy thing is they are not opening back up the tests until further notice. So you can't even take a test to get your QAL to do a disinfectant service, until they open that back up. So then they just go on about the exams and everything like that. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. And so they did just come out with, NPMA just came out with a webinar, which I listened to. And if NPMA does listen to this, I wanted to let you guys know the idea was it was great. The idea of the service, the idea of the webinar, execution was poor. Okay, if you're going to get people on there that are going to talk about their services and what they do and what they use, say the products that you're using, get into detail. That's the whole point of that. Don't say this is the service and we think we can do. Don't do that, okay? The whole execution of it was very poor. The CEO of American did great. He actually went into more depth. The lady from Rollins and Orkin, she sucked, okay? I don't even know why she was on there. She gave very little detail. She was very vague about the entire services and how to do the services and what the services are about. So it was a very shoddy webinar. But I will give you a run through of what that webinar was about. Essentially, you need to cover your butts. Okay, guys. You need to make sure that you are insured, that your insurance covers it. I did call my insurance companies just so I will go into more detail. So general liability and workman's comp, they are going to the underwriters right now. So if anyone's wondering, can I do this disinfectant service, or even is my company allowed to, if they do not have a QAL, instantly out. The webinar did not explain that, just so anybody knows that. They did not go into detail with that. So you do need a QAL license. Also, you are going to need to make sure that your insurance company covers that. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do the service. It just means if you don't have the insurance to cover anything that happens, you are now liable for those issues if something comes up or those lawsuits, especially with the workman's comp, because now you're bringing them into an area of a home or a business that had the coronavirus, or someone just died of the coronavirus, and you got to go in and sanitize that or disinfect that area. You need to make sure that you have your guys are willing to do that, and you have the proper equipment so they're not getting infected and carrying that with them to other people. So, do your due diligence on it. Make sure that you are training everybody properly on how to use it, what to use, and especially with the chemicals. Majority of the chemicals that I've found, which I'll give you guys a little secret right now, all the products I know that will kill the coronavirus, other than one, is all warning products. So in my company, we only have one warning product, now two, but we only use caution products for our pest control. So there is a product out there that you can get. It is a little bit on the expensive side, but it actually is, let me pull it up real quick. This is the cool thing. So it is called hypochlorous acid, okay? It is USDA organic, okay? This stuff sanitizes and disinfects. It will kill everything instantly, and the label on it is, there is pretty much nothing, because it's not harmful at all. So it is awesome. It is amazing. I do know someone who is selling it. They're not asking me to plug this, so I'm not going to, because it's not 100% yet. But if you're going to get into anything like that, make sure you are reading the label, you're doing your due diligence, and you're up to par. Now, technicians who are listening, you probably just thought that was a bunch of crap I just listened to, but this may affect you if your company is getting into that service. You may not be comfortable with it, but I guarantee you that this is going to be a service that sticks, especially throughout this year, in restaurants, grocery stores, all those places, if pest control companies start to provide it. Now, we're already comfortable with PPE. We already know the procedures. We already know what we have to clean, what we need to wash, how to do all those things. So we are a prime, we're prime sub, we're prime. We're ready for it. We can do this. So your company may be switching over to that. And if you're not going to jump on that, I think there's a lot of money that you're going to miss out on. And so this could be a good advancement for a lot of technicians if they do decide to learn and to jump on this. So now obviously make sure you know what your company's using product wise, read the labels. But if this hypochlorous chlorous acid takes off, I'm telling you, you don't even have to go in there with a mask or eye protection. Like, it's that awesome. And you can disinfect yourself, spray yourself down right afterwards. So just be prepared for that. With these changing times and different services. I know Rollins is already doing it. I know American Pest Control, I think that's what they're called, is already doing it. So there's already a few companies that are jumping on that and doing that service. Now moving on to the next thing, we're getting into the, to the heat of the summer. We're going to start, everything's starting to heat up. Bugs are starting to come out. We're starting to see wasps early on here in Sacramento. So get prepared for that. And I wanted to let you guys know a few little tips and tricks on what you can do to get above, to get ahead of this curve. One thing is, as everything starts heating up, really pay attention to your customers and what they're saying, what they're seeing, so you can do the proper treatment. So if you didn't listen to the last podcast, go back and listen to the last one. I talk about the products that we use for different, more specialty pests, but they are still the general pest. But listen to that to learn what products you could use for certain pests and what to do. If you have a supplier that is supplying you these products, they'll go over those products with you and tell you exactly how to use them and what you need to do to get rid of certain pests. Now, be prepared for that, because as these trends start growing, technicians, you guys need to know that so you're prepared with the proper treatment, or you're going to create a lot of callbacks for yourself. Now, depending on your company, that's going to hit your pocket because you're doing free services, meaning you don't get paid. So we want to maximize your money, maximize your wallet, so you're making the most out of each service. Doing that, take those 5-10 extra minutes at every house to listen to that customer, find out what you need to treat for, and treat properly. Use the right amount of chemical around the property. Use the right dilution rate. Make sure you're hitting those specific areas. Don't half-ass it when you need to actually be focused on those certain areas for certain pests. Now, I won't go into detail today about certain pests and how to treat for them, because the chemical one already kind of went through that. But I will, for next episode, I will go through that with you guys and hit on specific pests, on what products to use and how to use them on the house, especially right now with what we're seeing in this certain time. The other thing is, guys, with summer, we pick up, we drive more. There are more appointments, but typically if the company's selling, you're going to start driving more. Make sure that the truck's taken care of, because that's your moneymaker. If that truck breaks down, I know it's not your truck, but you guys got to make sure that you're telling them. You got to make sure that you're on top of that so that they can take care of that truck for you. Because if you're not taking care of that truck, or they're not taking care of it, you're out. You're done. So yeah, make sure that you're looking at the truck, making sure everything's good, checking the tires yourself. If your company you're working for doesn't do it, you need to do it to be proactive, so you don't have a tire blow or something come up, out in the field. The other thing is equipment, guys. So your equipment is key. You need to make sure that your equipment is all up to par. What you're dealing with. If your B&G leaks or something's going on, get that fixed, turn that thing in, get a new one. Buy the rebuild kits if you're managers or your owners, or buy just straight up brand new B&Gs. those are huge. Whether actually I shouldn't say B&G because that's a direct brand, but whatever hand can you guys use, make sure that you get on that and that they're up to par. So inspect your equipment, make sure everything's good. Hoses are something easy to inspect. Just make sure there's no creases in them, especially if you have an open bed truck and your equipment's out in the sun all the time. Make sure that you are taking care of it. Also clean. This is a huge one I always focus on with my techs is cleaning and organizing the truck. The more organized the truck is, if something bad happens, you know exactly specifically where everything is. You know what you have on the truck, and then you can be prepared for anything. Also in the truck bed, I know a lot of guys use it for garbage. Make sure you're cleaning that out weekly or daily, depending on how much garbage you have back there. Keeping that clean helps out a lot, and you're not going to have garbage flying out the back of the truck while you're driving on the freeway. So do your due diligence on that. Also, you can prevent a lot of breakdown on certain equipment just by taking care of it, just being careful with it. I know filters on certain Birchmeier backpack sprayers. I don't know what anyone uses out there, but making sure that you're changing the filters in the handle. I am going to be coming out with a series how to rebuild those things, because in this industry, unfortunately, we don't have any of these videos. We don't have any of that stuff. So I'm going to come out with videos, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to, rebuild a kit, rebuild a gun, and go dive in deep into those services. So you guys can do that on your own. And hey, you know what? If you're really hands-on tech and you like working on stuff, this is going to be perfect for you, because you can watch those videos. You can be that expert for your team and work on their stuff. But main thing is going back is listen to your customers, make sure you're treating the right way and properly. But moreover, guys, I just want to hit last before I end. I know this was quick. Just be prepared for changes, roll with the punches, because this industry is going to change, and we're going to be moving a lot of services around, in ways that we probably didn't before. And so be prepared to change with the industry. Be prepared to jump on that, because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for growth. And if you're not that one that's willing to grow, willing to change, they're going to leave you behind. And, you might get by, but, there's no reason to, when you could succeed and you could thrive in a new branch of pest control in what we do. Especially in these times. So just be prepared for that. I will keep you guys updated as much as possible with what's coming out from NPMA, and especially now with this disinfectant service. I'm going to keep you guys updated with that and how that goes. We've added a few new services here just to keep things fresh and new. And it's stuff that's just super easy that we've always wanted to do, but now we're just adding that stuff on. But be that guy that's willing to jump on those services and do those new things and learn that stuff, because every company is going to be looking for those guys, and they need them. And so there's going to be a premium. I guarantee you, I promise you, if there's a disinfectant service, you guys are going to make a ton of money if you raise your hand and say, hey, I'll do it. I'll go into those places and disinfect, because even the CEO of American came out and said it's hard work, and the Tyvek suits, respirators on, he knows, so he's going to pay. And if he's done it, if he's been in one of those suits and he hates it, he's going to pay prime dollar for those positions. So just be prepared for that, guys. Be ready for these changes. Stay positive out there. Always, always, always keep learning. Especially on downtime, do not let that destroy or consume your life. Keep learning, so when this all passes, you're ready. You're a new person, and you're ready to attack anything that comes up. But thanks for listening, guys, and don't be afraid to email us or reach out with any questions or any subjects you want us to hit on. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, this is Anthony, and here's a quick reminder. We want to hear from you, whether you're a technician, owner, or operator. We want to hear your stories, whether it's a horror story on the field, a funny story with the client, or just something straight up crazy or weird you've seen. And how can you do this, you ask? Well, Our email is dnapestpodcast@gmail.com. That's DANDA pestpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us at Twitter and direct message us there at DNA Pest Podcast. That is D, the letter N, A, Pest Podcast. Follow us on Twitter. Or you can reach out directly through our website at dnapodcast.com. That's DANDA podcast.com. We want to hear from you, so let's hear it.